Hello, my name is Mali McGhee and I am a CELTA and DELTA tutor and a CELTA and DELTA Module 2 assessor. So I work for myself as a freelance and for Cambridge. We have some questions that people have asked about the CELTA and the DELTA, and so I'm going to address them for you, I hope. First question, what is the difference between CELTA and DELTA? Well, CELTA is an initial teacher training course. That means that you can do the CELTA even if you haven't taught before. It gives you a toolkit, it gives you the basics, it helps you to plan an effective lesson, and there's lots of practical support. So you teach for 6 hours during the course and you're given lots of support, lots of feedback, and you make enormous progress. The DELTA is a higher level qualification. You need at least 2 years experience under your belt before you can attempt the DELTA. And what it does, it gives you the theory behind some of your practice, and it allows you to explore different ways of approaching teaching. The CELTA gives you the basics, but the DELTA allows you to go beyond and really develop your teaching. The next question we were asked, does it make sense to do the DELTA if a teacher works one-to-one or online? My answer would be yes, because the DELTA is a wonderful vehicle for improving your teaching. It allows you to practice, to experiment, to try new ideas, and to open your mind and your teaching practice to all kinds of new things. On the DELTA, you will have to teach groups, but many of the techniques and activities will be useful for teaching one-to-one or online. Another question, is there any difference between doing the courses in Russia and abroad? Obviously, if you do the course in Russia, you are in your home territory, which is quite nice. The course here is intensive. Therefore you live and breathe and eat and sleep it. You meet other teachers from all around Russia and you exchange all your ideas about how you teach and all the techniques and practices that you use. There's no difference at all in the standard. The course is standardised and assessed by people from Cambridge, like myself. The tutors are often non-native speakers, so they may have come from England or other parts of the world. So the standard is exactly the same. Another question is, how difficult is it to do the DELTA without the CELTA? Is CELTA a must to do the DELTA? Do you need a language certificate to do the DELTA, like CAE or CPE? Firstly, I would advise you to do the CELTA if you can, because it gives you the basics of classroom practice and makes sure that your basic classroom practice is very sound. However, it's not essential. If you have a lot of teaching experience, you may well be able to go straight to the DELTA. You don't actually need a language certificate like CAE or CPE, but you do need to be of this level. You need to be a high-level, competent English speaker. So even if you don't have the certificate for CAE or CPE, you need to show that you are at that level. People ask, how long is the course? At Language Link Rostov-on-Don, or at Krasnodar, the course is 6 weeks intensive. This is one of the shortest courses that you can do for DELTA Module 2. You can also do the course online or part-time in some centres, but usually abroad. People ask, what are the advantages of having CELTA and DELTA? Firstly, they are the first certificate that an employer will look for. So if you have a CELTA, you are much, much more employable than if you don't. If you want to be Director of Studies or more senior in a language school, If you don't have the Delta, you will not be considered. It's the first thing they look for, and it's more important than, for example, a master's. Is the assessment of Delta Module 2 in any way similar to that of CELTA? In a nutshell, yes and no. In CELTA, you are observed for 6 hours of teaching practice, given immediate feedback, and your grade depends on your performance during the whole course. The CELTA is completely internally marked, but it is externally moderated, so somebody will come from Cambridge to check that the standard is good and that everything is done properly. The Delta Module 2 assessment is different. You have 3 internally assessed lessons. Each one is supported by an essay about the theory and the practical application of the topic you're looking at, and that essay is 2,500 words. The 4th assessment for the Delta Module 2 is externally assessed, and this is somebody who comes from Cambridge or from another country who is an assessor, and they watch your lesson and they mark your essay. Then all your grades and marks are sent to Cambridge and you will be awarded your final grade. Okay, somebody has asked whether in preparation for the Module 2 she should read set books or she should look at her Module 1 preparation notes. Both will be helpful, obviously, but the most important thing is to come onto a course and to experience what the tutors have to tell you, to discuss your ideas and to put them into practice in your practical teaching. A practical question from one potential Delta candidate. She asks, how much should we take learning styles into consideration when planning our lessons? Well, we're all different, we all learn in different ways, and therefore our lessons should be varied, interactive, and try to appeal to all kinds of different kinds of learners. So yes, I know there's discussion about how valid learning styles are, but variety does seem to be the key. Somebody asks, is it better to take the Delta abroad or in Russia? They have taken the Delta abroad, taught multilingual classes, learnt about different nationalities, but then they come back and teach in Russia where the teaching is monolingual. The Delta is the same wherever you take it. The quality is the same. If you are planning to teach in Russia, then doing your Delta in Russia, you're in a familiar environment. However, if you're planning to teach abroad, the Delta gives you all the tools you need to do that, and you can transfer the ideas from the Delta to any teaching environment. It might be a multilingual class, it might be a business class, it might even be young learners, but you can transfer the skills so you can take the qualification in Russia quite happily, as the quality is the same as anywhere else. I'm asked what my impressions are for running the course in Language Link, and was the course well organised. I can put my hand on my heart and say that it is superbly organised with Juliana at the helm. I have worked here several times now and assessed as well, and I think that you get a very good quality course for your money at this school.